Active lines. Good morning, New Times.
Hey, good morning, Bert. How are you this morning?
Good morning, I'm blessed.
This is the section here.
Good morning.
I'm just trying to keep you company a bit this morning. Well, first of all, I want to join with you to express my personal condolences and the condolences of the party to the Frederick family and the Bacchus family. You know, it's always a trying time when you lose a loved one. There's not much we can do in these times, but I just want to express the hope that they will keep strong, and as a family, they have to pull together to get through this. Now, but some time ago, the Coast Guard boat was commissioned, and from what I read, the newspaper reports as to the Prime Minister remarks and so on, the impression he tried to give to the Vincentian public was that he bought a new vessel. I don't know if you got that, if you sort of got that impression too. Hello?
To some extent that I had only heard the word refurbish used, but I got the impression, well, it was basically new. That's the impression.
Yeah, because even in 784 news said a new vessel, the new Coast Guard vessel, and so on. I didn't really hear the speech myself, so I don't know if he said refurbish or what. But and then he went on to make a very strange remark that he spent this amount of money and could have built this amount of schools and so on and so on and so forth. And you know, some people start talking about it and they were saying, well, oh, he said that because there was no opposition. And sometimes I wonder about the analytical.
Yeah, I heard that remark. I just ignored that.
And I wonder about the analytical skills and so on of some of our people, especially some of our people on the radio station. Now, let me say something here, but I was very critical of the fact that the Coast Guard did not have the necessary resources, being a past Coast Guard officer, because I know that there are some very hard working and dedicated men at the Coast Guard base, and given the right equipment, they will perform. Now, we had lost the Captain Mozak and the George McIntosh because of age, and they had to be decommissioned. But we had tried to acquire Coast Guard vessels before, and we had problems. Now, it is my opinion that the statements made by the Prime Minister was more bravado than anything else. And because why will he go and say things like, we pay for this ourselves? I'll tell you why, and this is my opinion. Now, you recall some time ago when the Prime Minister had just taken over, I think it's in 2002 or sometime there, where he had stopped the loan for Atley Hall, and he bragged it was a master stroke. Mm-hmm. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember the situation with Atley Hall, not exactly about the loan part. Yes.
I think from what I can recall, he had stopped the loan. Now, but from that point in time, our credit rating dropped.
Okay.
Because the risk of lending us monies was high based on his action. Because persons thought that if loans are given to St. Vincent, they might not pay it. It is my view that the Prime Minister had no choice but to pay for that vessel. I think that the NDP statements and so on and, about the vessel and the Coast Guard and so on forced them
to
go and get a vessel. Because I could recall, after I'd written a piece in one of the papers, the Foreign Minister came sometime after and said that they're going to get a new vessel. If you can recall that, I think it's sometime in November or something. Suddenly they just say they're going to get a new vessel. But I am of the opinion that the Prime Minister could not get a favorable loan, because no country is going to buy a Coast Guard boat cash, not even England or United States. They don't buy boats cash. So this is not something to boast of. I think it is my view that the Prime Minister could not get a favorable loan. He had no choice but to expend the monies that he had to acquire the Coast Guard vessel. So this thing about buying the vessel and we pay for it. All this bravado and more rhetoric. And that is all but that this Prime Minister has to offer us in this country. Bravado, old talk, and rhetoric.
In terms of the vessel, though, from your expert in this area, how old is the vessel? Do you know? How old is
I think the vessel was built in 2005 or 2006, thereabout. And it was commissioned in the Jamaica Coast Guard. What happened? They built 3 vessels. I think it was Middlesex. They called it the county class. Because what they did, they named the 3 vessels after the 3 counties in Jamaica.
Okay.
So they called them the county class. Middlesex was one, I forget the other 2 anyhow. But those vessels were commissioned in around 2005, 2000, I think it's 2006. And I think it's 2016, because with damming, if you purchase a new vessel, there's a return policy that if you want to return them after a while and purchase other vessels, it's like a vehicle. You know,
okay,
like
yes.
You can
trade
return a vehicle, right? So you trade in those, and you can acquire new vessels, and I think there'll be some cost reduced from the new vessels.
Okay.
Okay, and I think that was the whole thing about. So they had returned the 3 vessels that they commissioned in 2006, I think it was. And
replace them.
And replace them.
So I heard, let me say rumor, because I didn't, that the operational cost was one of the reasons.
For Jamaica, I think Barbados have 3 of those vessels, 3 of those vessels also, you know. Yeah, anyhow, those vessels, yeah, the operational cost is high, but I don't know. I think that on its own, St. Vincent will have a challenge maintaining that vessel. But I think because the U.S. still provides support to the Coast Guard. So with the U.S. support and so on, they should be able to deal with that. Okay, but it will still be high. I mean, right now, the Coast Guard, notwithstanding that here they're going to go to 100 men, the Coast Guard have been languishing for some time without proper training, equipment, and so on. So even food for the men who go on duty, they have been having challenges with, you know. So I don't know how it's going to happen, but I think what they call it TAF, which is an agency of the United States government through the Coast Guard that provide technical assistance to security forces and so on, and through them they provide assistance, financial assistance to purchasing, like fuel and equipment and so on. So I believe they'll get some assistance through that route, you know. But on its own, I think it will be a challenge for us, you know. But I know the vessels are refurbished vessels, and I'm not gonna pound the vessels themselves, because I think we need the facility.
No, because I'm gonna be asked in terms of. Because we a lot of intentions, a lot of people in the Caribbean, we get refurbished vehicles and so reconditioned from Japan. That seemed to be the norm.
Yeah.
So my straight question would be to you that we could get sufficient service out of this vessel?
Well, once you follow the maintenance regimen, the docking, you know, take them and dock regular and so on, we should get good service from it. You know, once you're doing regular maintenance and proper maintenance, we should get a good service from it. But one other thing that the Prime Minister said, I don't know why he make these statements. I think he has so much on his back for that he feels he has to say things to impress persons and so on. He is saying that the vessel will not be involved in medevac because of the expense. That is according to the news, right? I'm saying, what is the cost of somebody's life? So if you have a vessel sitting there, you're not going to use it if somebody's life is in danger?
So if somebody's life is in danger, say in Beckway,
you're not going to move it?
Because of the cost, you're not going to move it?
You can't do that.
That's what you say.
When it comes to life, you don't study cost. You don't think about cost. He didn't say, he said he will not do it. He said he can't do it, you know. Now, cost is not a factor for cannot do it, you know. And that is why I think the vessels are there. The vessels are there to support the intentions, whether it's maritime security or whether it's medevac, because He said it, we are a maritime nation. You know, more than 60% of our commerce comes through the sea. Come via the sea. I mean, I've never heard him talk much about the blue economy. Now he start talking about, since we started talking about the other day, and the exclusive economic zone. He's now talking about that.
Okay.
Why? Just because he purchased the vessel to justify that. But the truth is, we have never been interested. This government has never been interested in anything to do with the exclusive economic zone. Have you ever heard them talk about anything to do with that?
No.
No. Even when we had the Captain Mossack and the George McIntosh, they never spoke about that. Suddenly, just because we wrote some time ago talking about that, he is talking about it now.
And I think the pressure and the constant appeal, especially by yourself in terms of the Coast Guard, and you need a vessel. You made that point over and over that can go out and stay out and maybe have a smaller boat that could make some wrongs. You made that point over and over, and I think, finally.
Yes, finally got a boat. But you see, with us being a multi-nation state, I really believe we need more than one vessel. Okay, because a multi-nation state, if you're patrolling the mainland, what happened to the Grenadines? You know, so you have to have a plan of operation to address the limitations here, because you can't go and say, no, when the time comes, you say, oh, well, we have one vessel, what do you expect us to do? If the vessel's in Kingston, what do you expect it to be in Union Island also? And that's because you're not looking ahead at the real reality of our security situation. So, yes, I'm glad the Coast Guard received a vessel. It's not a new vessel. I'm not killing that. I think that they can get some source from it. But I think the Prime Minister need to stop pretending that he has achieved some godly act by providing us with a vessel, and we have to sort of just thank him or something for it. That is his job, and he should have done it a long time ago.
Yes, you've been calling for that.
Yeah, I do believe that the reason why he couldn't do it is because he couldn't get a loan to purchase vessels, because of our credit rating. Our credit rating went down when they stopped the loan for the Otley Hall project. That is my belief.
True.
You know.
Well, finally got there. I still, the statement relative to the money could have been used elsewhere. But
that is bravado and to choke people off, to say, well, look, the Prime Minister make a great decision and so on. I'm saying that's a nonsense talk, because why would he bring in schools and this sort of thing? Huh? Sometimes you have to make hard choices as a leader, but you make the choices based on the information, based on what the perceived need of the country. I don't think you're going wrong thumping your chest. Look, I have to make such a great decision because I have to leave schools. You see, we have a big Coast Guard boat now. They mustn't talk or say about schools because we have to spend the money on Coast Guard. If he was running this economy properly, we wouldn't have such drastic choices.
And some of the petition money that they have to pay the lawyers could have been used elsewhere.
A lot of but we have a lot of wastage in this country, A lot of waste, a lot of nonsense money being spent. I mean, you have persons on the radio paying them thousands of dollars for what? To prop up a failing regime, and we have to address all of these things. But I'm positive the New Democratic Party will address that in the fullness of time, because it won't be too long before we assume the mantle of governance in this country. Just quickly, but you recall this article written by our speaker,
Jomo.
He is always running hot and running cold. I don't know if he know where he wants to be, because he is so much aware of the failures of this regime, yet he's an integral part of it.
True.
And he notwithstanding everything, he will not come out. So one has to wonder about him as an individual, but I will not go down that way. What I'm looking at here, this is not to say that what he has written is not so. What he has written is indeed factual. And I mean, it's a terrible report card on this government, because he's coming from the bowels of the ULP. I mean, this is a man who ran as a candidate for the ULP. This is a man who is a gatekeeper for the ULP, because look at what happened with the motion of no confidence. Then he is also their speaker in the House. You know, he may put on the cloak of impartiality of time, but he can't change the fact that he is integrally embedded in the ULP. He is. But the point is, that doesn't take away from the fact that what he wrote is not factual. Because here it is, boss. We have been told year after year that we are on the cusp of an economic takeoff. We have been told time and time again that we are better off than our neighbors. All sorts of things we have been told. We have been told we are the best prime minister and he is most strategic and all sort of glorious things, you know. And here it is. We have college students rushing for road work. But when I was a young boy, the people that we used to see with road work was the older persons.
Yeah, who just...
It's only when a young fellow wants to get a change, you will go and do a few days in it, but not as its primary function. But here you have young graduates from our premier education institution in what they call an education revolution, and they have to rush for road work, and they have thousands more who could not get it, and vex because they can't get road work. But they come out of college, and we're bragging every day. And Joe is still saying how the government is so good because they're expanding the middle class because people are getting scholarships and so on. Yes, but the middle class is not expanding. What you find is that the lower class now is more educated. Because those persons, and a significant percentage of the middle class that were created during the Mitchell period,
gone.
They've lost traction. They cannot call them middle class anymore. You remember all those independent farmers and so on who used to buy vehicles and so on and build houses and send the children. They cannot do that anymore. Now they have to depend on Papa for a scholarship. Because they were sending their children to school before. They were sending them to college and universities. And this country was more prosperous then. But now we're boasting as a nation how we've increased poor relief. Now that's something to boast on? How more people on poor relief now than ever before. I mean, if you look at the report card of this regime, it's just strictly failing grades. You know, except for rhetoric. If it's old talk and rhetoric, and even that now has become lame because it's a repetition of the old song and dance. You know, you're talking about the Caribbean. What do you think?
One of those things you say.
Phrases, that thing.
But civilization and all kind of promises.
But where are we with the Caribbean civilization? You see, all that is happening here is that Gonsalves is acutely aware of history. And he is trying to manufacture his own history, such that in time people will say, oh, Ralph Gonsalves created this, he did this, he did that. But the truth is, he's a failed leader in a failing country. Post Vincent the Grenadines, but
definitely.
Yeah, man.